Hi, Roger Harmon here for GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you instead of the other way around. So, welcome. If you're new here, hello, Ann. Good to see you. Glad to have you with us, and we're going to talk about backing up your data. Before that, I hope you're enjoying our GoFor Gazette. I've been thinking about what was the best day to send out the GoFor Gazette. And hi, Carolyn. So I've been sending out about 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Let me know in the comments if you think that works or if you think I should send it out before then. So I'll look for that here in a minute, but let's get to the topic of the day, and that is backing up your data. Now, the reason this came to mind was because I got a new client last Saturday, and she was having problems with her 2016 MacBook Pro having a black screen, like it wasn't working. So my first question was, do you have a time machine backup? And she says, oh, yes, I've got 2 backups. But then she said, but they're both full and I haven't had them plugged into the computer for several months. So immediately we ordered her a new backup drive so that she could get an up-to-date backup in case her Mac is dying. So a time machine backup is only good when it's plugged into your computer. So make sure you have those things plugged in, and then also do a check. I check it almost every day to make sure that the backup actually happens. So when it comes from the factory, Time Machine is only can back up every hour. And sometimes that can be a little bit too much, I think. It certainly would wear out a hard drive faster, I would think. So there's a free little utility that I install on my clients' computers that sets that backup to happen once a day, usually in the middle of the night when you are not using your computer. So that's something that is free and easy for me to install for you. So let's talk about how long hard drives last. So hard drive manufacturers tell us they expect their hard drives to last between 3 and 5 years. So they could die before that. There's many people that have computers that are 10 years old, Macs that are 10 years old. They're still running on the original internal hard drive. So, but it's insurance, okay? You don't want to, unless you're, a gambling kind of person, and what you're gambling with is losing all your precious photographs in many cases. So there's lots of sad stories. You've probably heard some of them out there about how they didn't have their backup. They go into the Apple store or they go to Simutech and they want to get their photos recovered, but that's not easy to do. There are services that will do that for you, and basically what they do is they have clean rooms, the bunny suits and the whole 9 yards, and they literally take apart the hard drive, take the platter out of the mechanical hard drive. They have the same model. They have a giant inventory of all the different models of hard drives, and they put your platter in a working hard drive where the electronics are working, and then they recover the data. And they will do that for you for only about $1,200. So is it cheaper to buy a $100 hard drive or to pay $1,200? You be the judge. Okay, so 3 to 5 years for hard drives. Now, if you have a 2013 or later, newer MacBook Pro, then you have a solid state drive. So you don't have the mechanical hard drive, and theoretically, that solid state drive, because it has no moving parts, will last longer. But obviously, if you have a MacBook before a 2012 or earlier or older, then you have a mechanical drive. So you're in the same boat as people with an iMac Excuse me, seasonal allergies. iMacs until recently have all been mechanical drives. Now, if you order a new iMac now, you can choose to have a solid state drive. It's not the cheapest option, but it is the best option in my professional opinion. And the reason for that is that in 2017, Apple completely redesigned the file system. The old file system. Now, the file system is what lets you have folders and move files, drag and drop and copy, and all that procedure is done with the file system. So the old file system was not really working the way it should in a modern situation. So they completely redesigned the file system from the ground up, and they called it the, wait for it, Apple File System, abbreviated APFS. APFS. So APFS is optimized for solid state drives. So they will work. It will work on rotational drives, on hard drives, but it works best and it runs a lot faster when you have a solid state drive. Of course, that's another advantage of solid state drives, is that they run a lot faster. So some of you may have replaced your old mechanical drives with solid state drives and seen a real boost in performance. So let's talk about the two different kinds of drives that we have available today. So the one that a lot of you know, John Nemo, and he and I are big fans of a company called Other World Computing, or OWC. And they make really good drives that we suggest for backup. Now, these are mechanical drives. We like the design because you can put them up vertical. It doesn't take up a lot of desk space. And you can use this as a time machine backup. So, and these have a 3-year guarantee. So, but again, you don't want to have a 10-year-old Mac with a 10-year-old backup drive. If you have a 10-year-old Mac, you should have a brand new backup drive. These start at $100 for a 1 terabyte. The alternative is a solid state backup drive. So this is a Samsung T5. T is in Tango 5. So that's one of the series. They actually came out with a T7 recently, which is faster, but for backup purposes, this is just fine. Now, these are a lot more expensive. They start at about $170 for a 1 terabyte. Another good brand is SanDisk. That's SANDISK, SanDisk, or the Samsung T5 1 terabyte, $170. So let's talk about the 3, 2, 1. And I see you have some questions there, and I will get to that right after I give you all the facts here, and hopefully some of those questions will be answered. But if not, I'll stay here as long as necessary to answer your questions. So 3, let's get that right. 3, 2, 1, backup strategy. 3 kinds of media. 3 backups, 2 kinds of media, 1 off-site. Okay, so that's the 3, 2, 1. So I kind of combine number 2, a different kind of media, with number 3, off-site. And I'll tell you why. So originally, this was originally thought up by a professional photographer, which, obviously a professional photographer, all of those images, that's his life bread, and he needs to protect those. So that's what he came up with to do this. Back when he originated this, they were saying that the 2 kinds of media would be a hard drive and a CD or a DVD. Well, since then, we've learned that those are not the best as far as longevity. So we're not really using DVDs and CDs for backup these days. So when I combine the different type of media with the offsite, what I recommend using is a service called Backblaze, Backblaze, Backblaze. It's a cloud service, and what they do is over the internet, when you're not using your computer, they keep it backed up. So the nice thing about Backblaze, if you ever do have that disaster situation, they will actually send your information back on a, probably not a solid state drive, but maybe on a drive. So you don't have to restore it back over the internet, which can be a time consuming process. So that's one of the many reasons we like Backblaze. Once your data gets to Backblaze, they are backing it up at least twice, maybe more. And they have several different physical locations. So your data is not just in one place. It's in at least two places. So that is kind of giving you your different kind of media and your offsite backup all in one. So the third way to back up is software called Carbon Copy Cloner. And it does exactly what the name infers. It's a carbon copy clone of your internal hard drive. Now, the reason this is good is because, especially if you have an older Mac, if your internal hard drive fails, then you can boot from the carbon copy clone external disk. So now we're talking about two external disks, one for Time Machine, one for Carbon Copy Cloner. And it will boot directly from that disk, and you'll be right back where you left off. You won't lose anything unless you haven't had your carbon copy clone plugged in a week, which would be better than nothing. The reason we don't recommend keeping a carbon copy clone plugged in all the time is because of ransomware. So with ransomware, that's usually something that pops up on a web browser and locks up your computer. So if you have a carbon copy clone, you just plug that in, you boot from that, you erase your internal hard drive, restore it from the carbon copy clone, and you're back in business. Or you can keep operating on the carbon copy clone until you have time to do the, somewhat time-consuming restoring of the data back to your internal drive. So that, again, this is all insurance. So you want to have insurance, and frankly, it's pretty cheap insurance when you consider the $1,200 fee for the clean room and restoring your data if you didn't have a backup. So that's pretty much the story. Everybody has a different situation, and I'm glad to, make an appointment and come and help you if you don't have your backup strategy the way you would like to have it, and we'll certainly get you set up the right way. So let's look at our questions. My banner is backing up my face. I think we took care of that. Okay, and let's see. Monday AM is good, says Ann. And so what is what? I'm not sure. So Caroline has a fairly new desktop. How do I know if I have a solid state drive? Well, Carolyn, if you bought it in the last, if you bought one today, you would have to specifically order a solid state drive. So the standard configuration is a mechanical drive. You would have to put in an option of having a solid state drive, and they come in different sizes, 500, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, depending on the model of computer. So chances are, unless you specifically ordered one with a solid state drive, you have the old-fashioned mechanical drive, which is going to wear out in 3 to 5 years. Another good question from Carolyn: how much does Backblaze cost? So if you pay for it by the year, I think it's about $70 a year. So it is a subscription service, $70 a year. A very well thought of company in the Mac community around the world, actually. So something that I use, and I would, I do strongly recommend it. So if there are no more questions, I'm trying to keep these short and sweet. And it's 15 minutes in. So we got just a couple of things here to finish. I will put a link for Backblaze in the comments after I shorten the video. What I do is I chop off the countdown timer and then put that up on this same YouTube channel. So it will probably be there by tomorrow. So you are on a roll. How do I know my time machine is functioning properly? Okay, so let's just do a screen share here. So we're going to show my screen, which is the beautiful Mojave sand dune. So, this is an option that you have to turn on. So let me just show you how to do that. So we'll pretend that like that icon is not there. So what would you would do, well, let's just do it the right way. So you would go to your Apple menu, System Preferences, and then down here, and this is going to vary. If you're on Catalina, they have rearranged all these icons. So what I'm showing you here on Mojave may be different if you're on Catalina. So you go down here to the time machine icon, and the first thing you want to do is check this little checkbox right here on the bottom of the screen. You see the little blue checkbox with the check mark in it. It says Show Time Machine in the menu bar. Okay, that may be a little small to see, especially if you're on an iPad or an iPhone, but it's there. So first thing you want to do is check that. So right here we can see what's going on. So the oldest backup was March 2019. The latest backup was today at 3:15 in the morning. Now you'll notice it says the next backup, automatic backups are off. And you see this on the left here, the little checkbox for backup automatically is unchecked. And the reason for that is because this utility, this free utility that I add to your computer, won't work if that's set to automatic. But many of you have that already set up on your computers, like Barbara, who just joined us, does, I know. So now, once you check this little checkbox, then up in your menu bar, again, it's going to be hard to see maybe, there's a little circle with an arrow, and inside that circle is clock hands. So we're going to do our not our favorite, but a keyboard shortcut, Command Q, to get out of System Preferences. And so the way you would check, so that's kind of a long build-up to the answer to your question, Carolyn. But once you turn that on, then you're going to have this icon up here in your menu bar all the time. You click on that, and it's grayed out. It tells you where you're backing up to and the time that it backed up. So it should say, if you have it set up early in the morning, it should say today at midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever we set up. So that's how you can tell if you have a current backup. Okay, so let's see, Barbara. When you turn on your desktop, sometimes it says your computer was restarted because of a problem. I click ignore, then I press the Apple tab. Is there a problem? Barbara, that happens to me. It's just a random thing. So I don't think if the computer starts functioning as you expect after that, then I don't think it's a problem. So sometimes Barbara says when you put this computer to sleep, you get a gray sparkle screen. I wait for it to give me the dock. So you mean, Barbara, you mean when you wake it up, it kind of gives you a gray sparkle screen? That just maybe just a timing thing when it's waking up, if that's what you mean. If not, clarify that for me, and I'll see if I can't make that clearer. So let's go back here to the camera. There we are. And the free utility for Time Machine is called Time Machine Editor. Time Machine Editor. So if you do a search in your search engine, which hopefully is DuckDuckGo and not Google, that's another program. Search for Time Machine Editor, and make sure it comes from the company. So let me tell you what the company is. And we're going to go to Safari here. And I will tell you the name of the company. It starts with a T, but it's available from several different sources. I just don't want you to go to a source that might put some adware or something when you do the download. So we're going to go back to our screen here and show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so in your search, you just type in time, and then as you're typing, look down at the suggestions, because it should it should pop up before you're done. You see, all I had to do is type in Time Machine E, and down below the suggestion was Time Machine Editor. So we go into there. Oh, look at the white screen. Now I've got lots of light. I knew I was going to do this. I forgot to turn on my light. Okay, I'm going to do that now. Lights on. There we go. Okay, so this is the company that you want to get it from. It's called, well, I'll tell you how it's spelled. It's spelled TCTEMENTDEV.com. So I'm not sure how you would pronounce that. But some of these sites, for example, this next one called download at cnet.com, and some of these others, Mac Update, sometimes they put malware or adware. They sneak it into the download. So make sure, if you can, you get it from the developer. And this is the first one right here. Well, it's not the first one. So this is an ad. So another piece of advice here is when you see the little ad icon there, I never click on the ad, because someone paid for that to be there, and it's not really a legitimate search result. It's an ad, so they paid to have it number one. So this is actually from B&H Photo, which is a reliable site, but they just want to send you to their site to sell you a camera or something. So the second one here, the TCLEMENTDEV.com. So hopefully that answers your question there, Ann. Barbara, the gray sparkly screen comes at different times. Okay, well, I'm not sure, Barbara. It could be could it be that it's your computer is timing out and going to sleep? I'd have to get more information on that, Barbara. So Carolyn, what is DuckDuckGo? Well, since we have it right here, you see this cute little duck right up here? That's DuckDuckGo. So what DuckDuckGo is, I don't know how to say this properly. What it is an alternate to using Google as a search engine. So Google is free, and when a product is free, many times you are the product. So DuckDuckGo does not track you like Google does. So they're not selling your data to advertisers. They're not sending you all those ads that were based on one of your recent searches. DuckDuckGo doesn't do any of that. So you might wonder, how does DuckDuckGo stay in business? And I thought they might have a little statement here on that, but they don't. But the way they stay in business is they have services that they sell directly to corporations that are more sophisticated than a simple search engine. So we're pretty sure they have a good business plan and they're not going anywhere. So when you're in Safari, So this is a bonus. I was going to talk about this on a different program, but you twisted my arm, Carolyn. So to set up DuckDuckGo, it's pretty easy. You're in Safari. You go up here to your preferences in Safari. And when the preferences open, my computer's a little slow because it's old and I'm running a intensive program to do all the video switching. And then you click on the little magnifying glass where it says search. And then you have choices right here of what search engine you want. And DuckDuckGo is hardwired in there from Apple. You click on DuckDuckGo, and that's all there is to it. Simple, simple. So, thanks for asking, Carolyn. And I hope everybody, if you don't have DuckDuckGo, you will change that right now. And again, that's something that I do as part of my security check when I visit you personally. So, quick poll. The question here is, beard or no beard? That is the question. So we're taking a poll on that. So let me know what you think about that. And down below here, let's see, be probably right in that area, you have a subscribe button. And to the left of that, when you subscribe, you have a little bell. So if you click on the bell, you'll be notified every time I go live. And I do, or every time I post to the channel, which may not always be a live. It could be a little GoFor Tech bulletin, something I think of during the week that I want to tell you about. So I'll just record a video and throw it up on the YouTube channel so you can have that in between our weekly GoFor Lunch time. So I got to run. I've got to be at the gym. And I will see you next week. So if you have any questions, you know the phone number. Have a great day.